What's good everyone, my name is Mac and you're watching Make It Easy, and today we are making a cutting board using some simple woodworking tools and some beautiful lumber. So let's get started. Alright, so we have a few wood pieces here left over from a previous project. I'm going to be using them. I have sapele, I have purple heart, I have padauk here, and then maple. So the plan is to use these pieces of wood to put together a cutting board that will be a gift to a friend. Typically there are a few different sizes for a cutting board. So today we'll be making a cutting board in the dimensions of 11 inches by 17 inches. This is a medium-sized cutting board and fairly widely available in the market. All right, but the difference from a market one would be we are using some exotic wood here, padauk, purple heart, and hopefully it's going to look much more beautiful than what you would find in a store. All right, so first things first, we'll cut them in the rough dimensions in terms of length. The plan is to put them together where sapele is going to be the major part of the board, and then there would be stripes of padauk, purple heart, and maple. All right, so let's do it. All right, so we have all our woods cut here to the length, to approximate length. We'll now start putting them together and gluing them in the pattern that we like. But in the way I'm thinking we'll build this is we'll have a broader piece of sapele, then few colored woods added in between, and then ending with again sapele. Okay, so we have the pieces cut, and you see I tried a few different options and I like this pattern a lot better. So we have the sapele starting and ending. We have the two pieces of padauk here. Then we have the purple heart, and then three pieces of the maple. So if you put this all together, it looks pretty neat. Yeah, I like this pattern. So the next step is we need to glue these pieces. So if you notice, I'm using, these are called pipe clamps, and these are used for big glue ups. For example, if you are making a barn door or a table maybe, right? But I like to use them because it gives a very stable surface to keep your glue up on, and the idea is you can tighten them using these wrenches and get it to glue up pretty quickly. I'll still be using a few more clamps here. I have a wet cloth here to wipe off any excess glue so that later when we are actually sanding this, we don't have to do as much work. And you just want to tighten it just enough. And how do you know it's just enough is when the glue starts coming at the top here. So that's what we're trying to do. You would see that as I'm tightening this, the glue is squeezing out, and that's a good sign. All right, so we let it sit. When it dries up, the next step would be to sand it, make it plain, and then we'll probably trim it from the edges here to get a nicer look. So give it a couple of hours and then we'll come back. All right, so we are back. It's been a couple of hours, and the glue up has been sitting here, so I think it should be ready. Let's see, let's open it up and see how it looks. Alright, so looks like there's a little bit of glue here that we'll have to take care of. And typically what I would do is I'll scrape this using a scraper or a chisel. And so let's do that. All right, so that's good enough. This side is fairly good. Clean up the table here, and then the next step is we will start sanding it. Now I have a 60 grit and an 80 grit sandpaper. The lower the grit, the more material it's going to take off. Since it is fairly rough here, especially where the glue up is, I'm going to start with a 60 grit, sand it down, so it's going to take quite a bit of material here, and then we will start going up to 80, 100, 220, whatever is required. But hopefully it should not take a lot of time. All right. All right, here we are. So the board has been sanded, looks pretty smooth front and back. So it's almost good to go. I mean, the only thing that now remains is trimming the edges. You see there is still a little bit of issue here, so we'll basically cut it right here, and that's exactly why we initially when we cut these the pieces of lumber, we cut it longer than the final length that we wanted. So I decided to sand the edges a little bit as well, so that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, so here's the money shot. Let's put some butcher block oil on this. You'll see the grain pop.